He's our pal, Bobby Valentine. Bobby, it's great to have you with us. Thank you on short notice. I know in a lot of ways, Tommy's like a second father to you. Talk about that for a sec. Go ahead.
Yeah, absolutely, Chris. At 18 years old, you leave Stamford, Connecticut, you go to Ogden, Utah, wherever that is, and you play a professional summer of baseball. Tommy was like my father. And, I don't know if it was because I was number one choice or I was Italian or I was a big mouth and he was a big mouth. But whatever it was, we really hit it off. And I loved him. He loved me. And to this day, 52 years later, till last night when I got the call at 3 a.m, he's been as close to me as anyone in my life.
Talk about his development of those great young Dodger players who turned out to be the cornerstones of those excellent teams in the 70s. Garvey, Lopes, Russell. Pachorik was there. You were there. Tell me about what he meant as a mentor, how he taught him and taught you young kids how to play the game the Dodger way in the late 60s there in the rookie league. Go ahead. Let me hear.
Yeah, well, Tommy was different. Tommy wanted you to believe in yourself and wanted you to believe that no one was better. When we were in rookie ball, he had us write letters to the big league player who was playing our position to tell them to get ready to move over because we were on our way. He threw batting practice, Chris, every day. When you think about this, it's unthinkable. But in the minor leagues, in winter ball, in the major leagues, he threw batting practice for hours on end every day with curveballs and fastballs, and he would throw from the mound. He wasn't throwing from 30 feet like we do it today. He'd stand on the mound, and regardless of the weather, he would throw and have you hit the high fastball if that was your weakness, or throw the curveball pitch after pitch to make you hit the curveball. And in between every pitch, there was a line of motivation. You could do this. You could hit it. I'll beat your butt. You try to beat my butt. It was always a competition. And this was a guy who made you feel special, whether you were in rookie ball or you were in the Dominican Republic or you were in Arizona Fall League. It's Joe Ferguson going around, another one that he developed and made believe because he was your manager. He knew your wife's name, your kid's name. He knew what town you were from. If you were an all-star when you were in Little League, he would mention that at times. And it was spectacular to just be in his presence.
Wow, how about that? Would it have been Giant Black if he was drafted by the Giants? I know the Dodgers in the mid-50s. He's sent away because of Koufax, the whole bit. Did he grow up a Dodger fan? Give me the Dodger connection. It's because he was with him for a long time. I know that. But at the beginning when he was drafted, or was he a Dodger fan growing up in Norristown, PA? What can you tell me on that?
He was a Phillies fan growing up. And, Dodgers came into his life because they gave him a job as a scout. And interestingly enough, 70 years later, he's married to the same gal, living in the same house in Fullerton, California. At least that's where he was when he left the hospital. And Chris, think about this. People said he'd never leave the hospital, but he had that will and that desire that he had to go to his home before he was going to leave this earth. And somehow, some way, he made it to his home. That's where it was that he had his final episode last night, or in the wee hours of the morning. And his dying was just as spectacular as his living.
Wow. It's funny. I looked it up. You got to the Dodgers before he did. And then
Yeah.
you left the Dodgers to go to the Angels when he got there in 73. So you missed each other in the major leagues, Bobby. That's ironic. Give me some thoughts on that. Go ahead.
Yeah, we never were in uniform in the major leagues. We were in uniform in Ogden, Utah, Spokane, Washington, Dominican Republic, Caracas, Venezuela, but never in the major leagues. And, when I managed the All-Star game in 2001, I asked the commissioner if I could have special permission to get an extended coach on my team and have Tommy be in uniform with me. And it's one of the greatest times of my life that we were in a big league uniform together in Seattle. for the 2001 All-Star game. And that's the one where he's in the dugout with me,
Yeah.
and he's saying, "Hey, Bobby, you need some runs. Put me out third. You need some runs. I could get us some runs." I said, "Tommy, you haven't been out there in a while. You're not going to coach third." And he finally convinced me. The first hitter was Vladimir Guerrero, who swings at a slider away, lets go of the bat, and here comes the bat at Tommy's head at third base coach. Here, you actually have the film. And then the next thing we know, he's doing a back roll, and I had my heart in my hands, and he got up and he got a standing ovation. He didn't get us any runs, but that was the last day that we were ever in uniform together. There's Barry.
How about that?
Yeah.
Great one. One last one, Bobby. It's very interesting that the Dodgers, they went from Alston, from Ohio, didn't say much, wasn't a rah-rah, pom-pom kind of guy. You would know that. You played for him. And then they went to Lasorda, who was, basically a football coach managing the baseball team. So they went from one extreme, it appears to me, to the other in the manager's chair. Let me get some thoughts on that. Go ahead.
Oh, they absolutely did. Walt, wasn't a personal person. He was the old school, my way or the highway, the military guy who was going to just have one way to do things. Tommy learned your name, your middle name, where you're from, as I was mentioning, your wife's name. He was told by Sparky Anderson the day he got hired that he'd never be able to hug his major league players like he would hug his minor league players. He did, and he won championships. And, he never got credit for the way he managed the game. He was spectacular as a manager. When they won that 88 series against the Oakland A's, I was with Rick Honeycutt at the World Series in the suite with Tommy, where Tommy got to see the Dodgers win a World Series for the first time since he won the World Series as their manager. Rick mentioned that during that World Series, everyone remembers Kirk Gibson's home run. Well, Tommy put the hit and run on 18 times in that World Series. 16 times the runner advanced or stayed out of the double play. And that's the reason they won that series, not because Gibson hit a home run, even though it was a great home run and a great moment in time. But when you think about that putting on the line, having the faith in his players to put the hit and run on. And Chris, I just want to mention one more thing, because it's the COVID environment we're living in, that Tommy should be laid in rest, and people should be able to go to Dodger Stadium and take a couple days to see this icon, this person that meant so much to the Dodgers and meant so much to so many fans. He, in his lifetime, I'll guarantee you this, took more photographs with more people than any other person who had ever lived in these United States or in the world. I say that only because he was a celebrity longer than most, and he was out in the public much more than anybody else. So what we're going to try to do is create a living mosaic and have people send in the photographs that they have with Tommy or in a Tommy uniform. And we're going to take all these, and I think there's going to be hundreds of thousands of photographs that we're going to be able to get, and we're going to make a virtual video mosaic of all the photographs in a photograph of Tommy as a memorial to him, because I don't know that we're going to be able to do a service. I don't know that we're going to be able to respect his life in his death as much as we should. And maybe this is a way to do it.
Wow. And I tell you, I remember a few years ago, you made sure he came to a American Cancer thing in Stanford, and he flew in. This is about 85 years old now. Didn't he fly in on a red eye, you and Paciorek in Stanford?
Yes.
He flew on a red eye just to do it for you and Paciorek, another one of his old players. How about that for a sec? Go ahead.
Oh, yeah, he would fly in anywhere. He did more benefits as favors to people, whether they were nuns or priests, whether they're school teachers or ex-players of his, or other coaches or umpires. He had more after-dinner speeches. He had more dinners eaten for free, let me say also, than anybody else who's ever lived. This is what he did. He did the most of so many things. And as I said, he threw more pitches in batting practice. He I was with him at the White House when he opened up the White House press corps and entertained them for 30 minutes before George W. got up to give a few remarks, or maybe it was before Ronald Reagan got up to give a few remarks. But whatever it was, I mean, he was in the presence of prime ministers and honored, in the presence of presidents, and he was honored. He was backstage with Frank Sinatra on a regular basis, that Don Rickles would make sure that Tommy was seated before he would start his show in Las Vegas.
Wow.
I mean, Tommy was, he was so much more than the guy that you hear about in the uniform bleeding Dodger blue. He meant so much to so many people, did so many things that changed the night. He was able to share his wonderful experiences with anyone and everyone. Like you say, that football team who recognized him. Hell, I would walk down the streets of New York City and the traffic would stop. Guys would get out of the trucks that they were driving to come over and shake his hand on Fifth Avenue. He was the most amazing person that anyone could ever be around. And believe me, he'll never be replaced.
Well, what a job, Bobby. Thank you for a few minutes. The sport needed you here, and you came through. Always a pleasure. Keep in touch. Appreciate it.